that will be a paid research assistant position, $2,000 for each of them. They will learn a lot about how to do economics, and they will learn a lot about, do they want to do this the rest of their lives? And then, of course, at the end, if they want to go to a good college, I'll write them a letter of recommendation. So what I've noticed is that here we tend, and I said this might hurt some people's feelings in the high school, but we tend to play checkers when other great private schools are playing chess when it comes to getting into top schools. Thank you so much. I receive probably a dozen emails a week, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, asking to work on my team from around the country. And these are students who understand they're trying to augment their resumes, and they're trying to get to the next level. So I think we need to do more of that in our community. We have great, smart kids, but they're not always given chances, the opportunities. The opportunity gap between a really good private school and good publics is enormous. Okay, so that's something that I think we're going to be proud of in the end. And that's why I think I had the big line, because all the students which in the end I'm not going to be hiring them, it's going to be the high school. But what I mean by hiring them is choosing them. Of course, it's going to come from my research budget. Okay, so that's about the high school. I'm very proud of what the high school's done. And I'm very proud of what the high school's doing. Now, let's talk a little bit about you. And let me ask all of you a question. How many of you have used Uber or Lyft in the last 5 years? Raise your hand. Wow. How many of you have flown United Airlines in the last 5 years? Raise your hand. How many of you used Google? We finally got you. I was waiting on you. I was going to bring my therapist in. If you weren't going to raise your hand, sure. How many people have voted in one of the last 2 presidential elections? Now, I can tell you, my research says that about half of you are lying when you raise your hand there. Okay, but I can tell you another thing. All of you have been in at least one of my experiments. Okay, you don't know it, but I won't link your name to your action. It's not that creepy. But what I can do is say something like, when I raise the airfare on a United flight from $300 to $400 from Chicago to Denver, I can tell you how people respond and how they change their demand. All of you have been part of one of my experiments. So on that front, I want to thank all of you for helping me learn about the world. You are part of many people's experience in today's modern economy. Okay? Now, a little bit about myself. I'm a professor at the University of Chicago. I graduated from Sun Prairie in 1987. I went to UW-Stevens Point. And back then, my goal was to become a golf professional. And I wasn't good enough. And I learned that very quickly. So I went to my next passion, which was to do economics. Okay? And I realized I was pretty good at that. So I went to the University of Wyoming and got a PhD in 1992. And from there I went to Central Florida, to Arizona, to Maryland. I worked in the White House for 2 years. And then I moved to the University of Chicago in 2005. Okay? So I'm an academic, but I have a foot in the, quote, real world too. I became the chief economist at Uber in 2015, and I was the chief economist for 2 years at Uber. And a lot of you probably heard the stories about Uber and Travis and what TK had done. We could talk about that during the Q&A if you'd like. I do talk about that in the book in chapter 9 on how to build a culture. About 4 years ago, I moved from Uber to Lyft, and I've been the chief economist at Lyft now for 4 years, basically doing the same kinds of things, supply side, demand side, market management, etc. 2 days ago, I quit Lyft, So I quit Lyft because there was a better opportunity. And later tonight or sometime in the near future, Walmart will make an announcement that I will be Walmart's new chief economist. Okay, so I am taking my talents to Bentonville, if you will. What does that mean? That's where Walmart's headquarters is. But I won't literally be moving there. I'm going to stay at the University of Chicago, but I'll be working with the CEO on how to leverage economic thinking and, let's say, the economic way to do data and do data science to help Walmart. Walmart is a great company that is getting, let's say, attacked on every front. So you can think a lot about Kiev or a different Ukrainian city. All the cities are, of course, surrounded. Walmart's the same way. You have Amazon, you have a lot of different competitors taking them on several different fronts, okay? So I'll be working on important economic issues for Walmart beyond the University of Chicago professorship. Okay. Now let's get to the book. And let me tell you about why I wrote the book. So in 2007, there is a little city called Chicago Heights. Has anyone heard of Chicago Heights? Okay. What do you know about Chicago Heights? What can you tell me about Chicago Heights?
It's surrounded by a lot of other, that's, really what I know.
And Chicago Heights isn't so great itself, is it?
Yeah, it's a little rundown. It's a
Little rundown. So what does a little rundown mean? A little rundown means 95% of households are on food stamps. A little rundown means every 1,000 kids that start high school, only 480 of them end up graduating from high school. The other 520 drop out, and it's typically around their 16th birthdays. You have boarded up homes, boarded up shops, manufacturing jobs are gone. Very proud community. Back when you knew it, a long time ago, this was a very vibrant community on the south side of Chicago. That's gone. So when they called me, they said, can you help us? Of course, right? I'm a Sun Prairie kid. What am I going to say? Of course, you say yes when somebody asks you for help. So I went to them and said, let's talk. We talked about doing a lot of different things. The problem is they have no money. You can say that about any school district, right? I get that story. But Chicago Heights is in particular a very poor school district. Okay. So I said clearly we have to work on public education. And we started in high school. We started with 15 and 16-year-olds. And that worked a little bit. For every 300 kids that we tried to help, we got about 40 more to graduate high school. That's good stuff. But the problem is when you start trying to help a 15-year-old who is doing math like a 7-year-old or reading like an 8-year-old, their potential is largely lost. You need to turn back the clock. Turn back the clock and start thinking about 0 to 5. That's what we did. Okay. School districts do not have funding for pre-K education. So my first job now is to go and find a philanthropist who is generous and believes in the fact that we should be doing some early childhood work, not only to help the community, but to figure out what works and why, so we can teach the rest of the world. That's where Ann and Ken Griffin come in. So I went and talked to Ann and Ken Griffin. Ken is probably the first, second, or third wealthiest person in Illinois. He started a firm called Citadel. He's a hedge fund manager. And Ken and I have become friends ever since. He and I were friends a little bit before that, but we talked. He and Ann are now divorced. That's why I spoke about his own wealth. And they ended up giving me a $20 million gift to start a pre-K in Chicago Heights. Okay. So 2008, 2009 roll around, you have an economist trying to start a pre-K. Okay, so I'm just dumb enough to do this project, but I'm at least smart enough to know I need a lot of help.